talk about when I was little, my mom, coming from an Asian family, wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer. That's just the typical, American dream, right? Hey, welcome, come on in. Well, one of the things that I used to always say as a child was, I'm gonna make more money than any lawyer or doctor will ever do. Watch me. And that was kind of like my saying to them. And they always said, oh yeah, laughed it off, laugh it off. And fast forward here at the age of 33, I am making more money than any doctor or lawyer that you're gonna find. Well, I'll take it back. I'm not making more than any doctor or lawyer, but most, 95% probably easily, if not more. I started my life as in the car business. When I was 16, I started washing cars, and from 16 through the age of about 27, I washed cars and I moved my way up the ranks, and I did well for myself. It wasn't like I didn't do well, but the problem was I actually worked so many hours. I had a very small social life as well. So I started there and I worked really hard to do it. It wasn't until about 6 years ago that I really kind of broke out and decided I'm done with this, done working the 9-to-5 grind and wanted to do my own thing, and I turned to the internet to do that. Internet marketing was never something that I ever thought about. I knew about it, I knew what it was, but I didn't really know what it was. So it comes back with meeting a good buddy of mine, Anik. I met him in Las Vegas and we kind of hit it off and became friends. I didn't know what he did, I didn't know who he was. All I knew was he was a good friend, he lived locally, and we used to hang out. One day I kind of asked him, I said, what do you do? And he said, I do this internet marketing thing. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, are you sending spam? Are you just like scamming people? Like those are the things that come to your head when you think about internet marketing. And he started teaching me and telling me about it. Now, we were friends for I think about 2 years before I even thought about asking him. But one day I just kind of turned to him and said, hey man, I'm really tired of my job. I work really hard and I need to know what you do and if you can teach me. I was at it for about 2, 3, 4 months maybe. It's been a while, so I'm not 100% sure, but it was been a couple months, 3, 4 months of just grinding at it, working at it, following the process, following the steps that were taught to me, that it worked. It finally just clicked one day and it just made sense in my head. I applied it and it just started making money. Now, I'll tell you one thing, the difference between now and then is back then we didn't have as good education with affiliate marketing as there is now. Back then I kind of had to piece together my thing. Now, what Anik has been teaching in the last couple years actually to me has been like, if I had that, I would have done it in weeks, not months. Well, my life looks like this. It's really, really simple. I wake up when I want to wake up. I do what I want to do. I go on vacations as I want to go on vacations, but I do live a structured life. I still try to work as a normal 9-to-5 job because it does take dedication to build your business. If I just worked it, I know I could live a very stable, flat line, but I'm looking to grow every day. So I'm always looking for bigger things. It really comes down to this. Anybody can do this, but what the biggest thing is, there's 2 things in my opinion that it takes. 1, you got to believe in yourself. You got to be able to believe that you can take that leap, and then 2 is to take action. Okay? Nothing's gonna happen if you don't take the leap of faith. You gotta take the leap of faith. You gotta be willing to invest in yourself. You gotta be willing to put the time in, and you gotta work hard at it. So these are things that are, obviously hard to do when it comes to it, because a lot of people have a mental block when it comes to these things. They're not thinking, oh, I can do this. They're always thinking the negative side of things. Take the negative out of your mind. Put the positive in your mind. Know that you can do it. Know that you have the correct teacher. You have the correct attitude and the correct training to do it, and that's all you need. And you can get it done. Anybody can do it.
All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the show. Guess who I've got with me? Mr. Jimmy Kim. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How
you doing?
Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone else does too. I've kind of told everyone about the history that we have here. I told you, right? He was one of my friends, one of my very close friends, and I've always found it harder to actually teach friends and family. So I always say that he was able to become successful despite being family and friend. So Jimmy, tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from before this, because I remember how freaking hard you used to work.
Well, we always talk about this background because it's always kind of funny to talk about. So back, I guess now 6, 7, 8, I don't even know how long ago it was, but when I was younger, when I was a young little lad, right? I used to be in the car business. I started off washing cars, and I kind of moved my way up through the ranks in the car business, and I was very good at what I did. But the problem was I used to work 60 to 80 hours a week, and that's actually when I met Anik. I was working my butt off. I mean, I went through the kind of like the cycles. I learned from the bottom and went all the way to the top, and it was actually, it was really fun. I'm a motivated guy. I love doing what I do, and I try to do the best I can when I do anything I do. It's because I take action. That's really what it really comes down to. But it was I think 2008 that I met Anik, and I was just like, went back there and I was like, you know, we met in Vegas actually. We both had this thing. It was actually really funny. I talked about this on that live webinar casting thing that we did the other night. And basically, you know, we go on these guys trip every year, and Anik kind of ended up being there, and I never met Anik, and we kind of like really just connected. So we became really good friends, but we weren't working together or anything. And the really fun thing is, when I first asked Anik, hey, Anik, what do you do for a living? I mean, I see your cars, I see you travel, I see you live the life, but what do you do? And he goes, I do internet marketing. And I'm like, what's that? Like, do you just spam us? Do you email us? Like, I'm not really sure, you know, like nobody really thinks. And I'm sure you had the same thought. I mean, your audience out here is probably going to think the same thing about that. You know, like when you tell someone you do internet marketing, it's a very vague statement, right? You know, but what you've done with Profit Academy, of course, it really kind of brings it together, right? Anyways, let me go back. So we talked and stuff like that, and it was, I think it was April 2009. Him and I said, you know what? I'm going to give up this job. I'm making 6 figures in that job, but I'm going to give it up, step back, and do something that's going to make me proud. I want to work less, which ironically I actually ended up working more, I think. But initially, at least, I was working more. But, you know, I stuck back and I said, you know what, I'm just going to give it up, take action, and do it. So it was 2009, and fast forward through those years, I've kind of like started picking up. I mean, it didn't come instantly, but I mean, once I kind of learned the process and the basics and I just started doing it, I started making money. It was really cool. And when I saw my first, I still remember, I wish I still had that check, you know, like everybody has that check picture. Unfortunately, I don't have one. I feel like I should go get another check real quick, like a really small one, and hold it up and pretend it was me, you know, maybe. But anyway, so fast forward, like, went from 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, I had huge growth every year. Every year I grew at least a minimum 100% to 200% of growth every year in my business. I mean, in 2014, this year, I mean, I just went through my tax thing with my CPA and all that stuff. And, you know, I crossed over the $4 million mark last year. You know, $4 million in net profits I'm talking about, right? I mean, if we look at our, my actual net gross sales, I think I did like $10 or $12 million last year, which was absolutely incredible, you know? Like,
wait, so I thought you were going to do over $10 million in sales this year.
No, I'm actually on pace to do something like 16 to 18 million this year.
Wow,
so,
that's pretty crazy.
I mean, you know, it's
incredible.
March now, right? It's March now,
Yeah.
and we just flipped into March, and I haven't done it, but I'm setting myself in the pace. I mean, my pace is right there right now, but
Wow.
I have more projects to do. You know, obviously I have other things I'm working on. I should do that minimum, and I would be upset if I didn't do it at the minimum right now, because I just, you know, once you start getting that snowball roll, it's over. It just goes, you know?
Yeah.
So there's my little story condensed without taking up too much of your time. But basically, I kind of like, you know, I took exactly what Anik is teaching in his Profit Academy. Basically, when Anik came to me and said, hey, I'm making this course, Profit Academy, I was just like, oh, cool, you know, I didn't really think anything of it. And he showed me the course outline, and I just kind of read through it, like kind of skimmed through it really fast. And I was just like, wow, it's kind of like everything I do in my business every day.
Yeah.
All in this nice, easy, handed to you paperwork. It's something that I learned. I mean, I learned the basics from Anik, and then Anik kind of taught me along the way. But it was like Anik's knowledge dump right in the palm of your hands. I kind of read through it, and I said, you know, Anik, if I had this back 5-6 years ago, I would have been making a lot more money sooner. I wouldn't have failed so much. You know, that's the truth. I wouldn't have failed as much. I would have succeeded faster and grown faster. So that's kind of how I look at it with that. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
I wish I had it.
Yeah.
I wish I had like 10% of it. It took
Yeah.
me 18 months and I didn't make anything. So, okay, so that's all good. It's all rosy. And I don't like anyone, if you're watching, I never want you to think that we're saying there's no work involved, or they don't have to do anything, or that, oh my God, the money just comes to you. First of all, I have to repeat, there's the income disclaimer. Jimmy is doing great. I didn't even realize. I mean, he's a good buddy of mine, and I didn't realize that you're on track to do 16, 18 this year. I thought you said you were on track to do 10. That's crazy. But this is what can happen, okay? My business is this year on track to do about 20. So I started 12 years ago. Jimmy started like half that, and he's caught up to me. And that sucks for me, because it's like, man, I have to sit here and figure out the system, and I teach it to other people, and they're going to do faster, bigger things. I mean, but that's great. I love it. I really do. But, of course, the income disclaimer being, remember, he's doing it because he works hard, and he puts the system into action, and he does what he knows is going to work, right? You have to put the work in. There's no button. There's no magic button that you could, you know, click, and then it just happens. All right, so, Jimmy, let's talk about obstacles. Can you share with us what is an obstacle? What is something that got in your way? Because a lot of the people watching right now are thinking about joining, and they're going to get started on their new entrepreneurial career very soon. A lot, by the way, a lot. I mean, I'm getting names of all the people that have joined. We've got a lot of people, and pouring in right now, which is good because we're only open for a few more days. But what are some of the obstacles you faced that you could kind of, let them in on beforehand? And I mean, a lot of those we've already addressed, but what are some that you've...
Well, it's really interesting because I was looking at your obstacles and I was kind of like, what are the obstacles that I had? Well, there was a couple obstacles, right? First of all, technology. Let's face it, everybody has technology obstacles, and technology is not easy. When I came out into this space, I wasn't into technology either. I mean, technology was nothing that I knew. I mean, I knew how to do the basics behind a computer. I used to turn it on, browse the web. I mean, the same thing. But what you learn really fast is you don't need to know the technology. You have people that can do the technology for you, or you can outsource the technology, right? That's the beauty of it, right? With internet marketing, you just need to have the idea and the passion to do it, right? That was kind of like one of the big things. So in Profit Academy, what was really cool is you're giving away everything. Like,
well, I'm laughing. Sorry to interrupt you, but for those of you watching right now, you can outsource a lot of the technology work to Jimmy. Because one thing I didn't even share with you, and I was saving this, but Jimmy is the CEO of SendLane. And I'm actually also a part equity owner in it, and that's the company. We're giving 90 days free to all of you as an autoresponder. Now, granted, you can go out and get another autoresponder, and it's not like money-wise a huge deal, but how about team-wise? How about knowing that a couple of the top email marketers in the world have built this platform? So we've built it for exactly what is good for them. We've built it exactly what they need.
We're always proud to say we're digital marketers that built a platform for digital marketers.
Exactly. And I think what's really key here is that all of us are pretty accessible, right? We're not some $100 million, $200 million, $300 million company that you can't reach and you have to talk to some customer support rep. Or what's really key here is you're looking at and sitting across of the guy who runs SendLane, and that's going to become one of the greatest tools of your business. And it's done. And he's the pioneer, by the way, behind the whole opt-in page builder inside the system. So now, for phase one, what technology?
Well, there isn't any.
There isn't. I mean, you're using the system.
Besides SendLane and the autoresponder, I mean, with the autoresponder and opt-in, and then you've got Clickonomy. I mean, you kind of like took it and just squashed technology.
Yeah, for phase one at least, definitely.
Phase one, I mean, you don't have to worry about domains or hosting at that point. With SendLane, we give you everything that you need. So if you look at that, I mean, you're just clicking. I mean, if you can click a mouse and put some words in, it really, there's not much more to it, and drag and drop. I mean, we've made it as simple as possible just because I remember when I was a newbie, and that is kind of how I related when we built the UI between the partners and I. So back to your question, right? So we had technology, right? Second one's always yourself, right? We always talk about that. You are your worst enemy. I mean, that's always the truth when it comes down to it. If you can't take action and do what you want to do and kind of get over that hurdle, and like, buying the course is one thing, right? If you join Profit Academy, that's great. But if you just buy it and put it on the shelf, nothing's going to happen. You buy it, you show up to everything, you learn all this stuff, and then you do nothing about it, nothing happens. In like phase one, for example, I was actually going through the course just like the other day, and I was talking about it like, he's got a lot of action steps. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then we're talking about customer support, and we had people who were like, oh, I'm finished with module 1. And we're like, and we're like, okay, that's great. What did you do? And they're like, well, I'm waiting for module 2. And I'm like, well, why don't you go back and do module 1? And we're like, so they just kind of sit there.
They went through the training, okay? They went through the training, and what Jimmy's trying to say is, and then they come and say, well, we want module 2. And we said, well, module 2 is next week. We want the training to be week by week on purpose. Guys, again, 100,000 students later, give me some credit. I got some experience in teaching people. So go with what I'm telling you. Bob Proctor, again, I love my phrases from him, one of my mentors, said that one of the greatest mistakes people make is when they get a coach or a trainer, they try to teach that coach how to train them. What the heck is the point of getting a coach? I've got 100,000 students under my belt. I know what I'm doing. I've got great success stories. Let me teach you. So we teach you week by week. Well, we get students that come to us and say, well, I want next week's training. Why can't I have it? Well, great. Can I see your opt-in page? Can I see what niche you're in? Well, I didn't do that yet. I just want to see the next week's training. Well, why don't you take action first? That's why we do it week by week, right? So once they take action, the next week the things that they learn will make more sense.
Absolutely.
Right? So So, okay, second obstacle is be yourself. I see that all the time. I mean, I am sometimes.
And then there's always your friends and family. I remember when I first started, I was like, hey, I'm going to give up my high position, multi-six-figure paying job. I'm going to quit. And they're like, what? Think about that statement, right? It takes a lot of someone to do it. I was younger, and I'm a gambler, right? And at the end of the day, I'm a gambler. I'm willing to take that risk. Some people need a little bit more push than that. But I can tell you that if you believe in yourself and you trust that you're built for bigger things in this life, working for somebody is not something that's going to make you a bigger person in life.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, being somebody who can kind of grow into that next level, teach people. I have students under my belt just like Anik does, and it's really fun. It's really fun to see people grow under you and to mentor them and teach them and kind of like see people butt up and like become bigger things. I've got people that make millions of dollars under me that I've taught. And it's really fun. It's really fun to see that happen because you're proud of them. I'm never jealous of them. I'm always super proud of them, and I hope they go on to do better than me so they could teach me one day.
Well, that's the greatest testament to a teacher, right?
Yeah,
when they
absolutely.
can start learning from their own students, and that's incredible. By the way, when it comes to email marketing, the person I learn from now a lot of the times is Jimmy. When it comes to technical things, right? Things that I don't want to talk about right now because you don't need to know. That's the beauty of having SendLane, because you don't have to know those things. You can actually just, you don't have to know them. They're all done for you in the back end. When I didn't have SendLane until now, I had to learn all these things piece by piece. And there's a lot of technical stuff when you get to big numbers like 200,000, 250,000. Those numbers, you have to start really learning how to deliver email. But not you, because again, like I said, we're ahead of you, so we keep fixing all the problems and making it easier. And then I get a little jealous though, because I'm like, wow, I wish I had that. But in the end, I'm happy to be the person that's helping provide and bring it to you. So that's really killer. Jimmy. Talk a little bit now about your growth in business. What have been some of the key parts? You've had such ridiculous growth. You had first year you made, I don't know, maybe $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Next year you made $250,000. Year after that you made $1 million. Those are like big jumps. What has contributed to those jumps?
There's no secret. That's the fun part about it. People go, what's the loophole? What's the catch? What's the secret to doing this, right?
There's a button.
There's no button. It was rinse and repeat. I took a strategy and a way to do something, and I just rinsed and repeat. Basically, I take step one, kind of do it, step two, do it, follow the steps that I have set up, and then once it works, I do it again, over and over again, and it just kind of grows and snowballs. That's really what it comes down to. I'm in multiple niches. I do multiple different things.
So it's kind of like just a system or a circle?
Yes, it's just like a circle.
Could it possibly be the circle of profit by any chance? Well, you know what? We've had students on here. We've had success stories. We've had everybody. We've had people that have come on, and they've always, one of the recurring themes has been step by step.
Yep, absolutely.
Step by step. Just do the steps. Do the system. Follow the system. And I got to tell you guys, one of the things that I find the hardest to convince people to do is follow the system. People get excited. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, guy, yeah, I'm Anik. I'm in. I'm gonna learn from you. I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, okay, great, go do this. And they're like, what if I did this? And I'm like, do this. Okay, I hear you. But what if I did this? And I'm like, you're driving me nuts. Just do what the system says. And that's all I want you to do. That's why I told you. There's the good side and the bad side. The good side of that is you can come at this without having to have thought a lot about what the system is and what you're doing. The bad side is, sometimes it's like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and you're like, man, give me something new. And when it's time for something new, when your business has grown to that level, I will give you something new. But for now, I don't want you to do that. I want you to just follow the system, follow the steps, like you said, and rinse and repeat. Jimmy, one final question, more of a favor. We've got people listening today, right now, to this live cast. This is our final training workshop. We're 15 minutes away from closing up, and we've still got people that just aren't making the decision to change their life. It's in their hands. It's right in front of them. But something's scaring them, right? So before you leave, I was hoping you could give, look into that camera, talk to the audience, and words of wisdom. And by the way, these words aren't meant to convince you to buy. They're not meant to convince you. It's not a sales pitch, right? I'm asking Jimmy to give you words here that'll help you make your decision and help you. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're a different person. That's all I'm looking to get out of this. All right, so Jimmy, tell them something.
Well, I guess I'll start with the reoccurring theme. I think every student has come on here and kind of said the same thing. They said, take action. But what does that mean? Like, what does take action really mean? I know it means the physical idea of doing something, right? I mean, that's one thing. But, you know, we always talk about this. Anik always repeats this. I'm a very big believer of it. You know, that whole saying. I mean, I talked about this on the live cast. You know, you teach a man to fish. You give a man a fish, they eat for a day. You teach a man a fish, they eat for a lifetime. What Anik is giving you is an opportunity to learn, but he's doing it in such a progressive way where you're kind of getting the fishing rod with the hook on, everything done with the worm on and everything. You just got to drop it in the line, drop it in the water, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's as easy it really gets. And now, can't say there was no work to be done. It's not a magical button. There is work to be done. You're going to have to invest time in it. But guess what? If you invest that time, you will see results. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I look back, and again, this is something I talked about live cast. I went back in August of this year, and I was just like, you know, I've been doing it in a lot of these niches. Let me go into another brand new niche and just continue to prove to myself that I can continue to do it, right? So I went back, took my steps. I created my opt-in page. I created my thank you page. I went ahead and got some traffic, and I started building this list, and I was in the personal development list, right? And when I started building this list, I went and I invested a little bit of money, and voila, right now, where are we, like in March now, right?
Yeah.
So we're in March, right? I started from August to March, and I just added another $20,000 to $25,000 a month in my income stream. Why? Because I did it. Now, here's the cool thing, right? Because I knew how to do it so fast, and because I have all the automation tools in my business as well, because I am owner and CEO of SendLane, right? Co-founder. So because I have all that, it was really easy. It took me like 20 minutes to set up, and then like daily maybe spend 15, 20 minutes working that setup, and I've added $20,000 to $25,000 to my income. But that doesn't come overnight. Before anyone thinks that, it doesn't come overnight. It's only because I've been doing since 2009 now, and I can do that. I can continue to rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. That's my growth structure. My growth structure is I'm not going to go doing something crazy. I'm not going to go do something that won't, you know, like I'm uncertain of. Why just take something that works and just continue to make money off of it? So with that being said, guys, if you're on the cusp, there's two things about it. First of all, there's a 30-day guarantee, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the best part. I love about that. I mean, there's a 30-day guarantee. You can go ahead and purchase it. You can start taking action. You can start seeing results. I mean, in phase one, if you can't see results, you're not doing something right. You just need to talk to the mentors and find out why it's not happening, right? Yep. Step two, obviously, is take action. I mean, it's like the theme of the day. It should have been called Take Action on the book. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Take action. If you just do it, if you just follow his course, the course works. Just take action. He's got proof. He's got people that can do it. I mean, people who are standing by to help you. He's giving you all the tools. I mean, I can't see how you can fail with this. You just got to do it, though. If you don't do it, no one can teach you. No one can, he's not going to come run around with a whip and hit you until you do the work. You can buy it. You just got to do it. And that's really what it comes down to, taking action. No matter what, you know, I can think of, that's the only thing that really comes down to for me. Everything comes down to back to taking action, and that's been the reoccurring theme, and I can't see, there's no other word to it. I mean, all the information's there, everything's there. Just take action.
Just take action.
Yeah.
All right. Sir, thank you so much. Powerful words from Mr. Jimmy Kim. Thank you very much for coming, and I guess go back to building SendLane so that we can all abuse it and use it and make lots and lots of money from it.